Hello guys, welcome to Bugs in Code. The problem that I'm going to explain today is minimum steps required. But before that, if you are new here and a person who likes stuff related to coding, then you can subscribe the channel so that you get notified when I push a new video. Okay, so let's get started. Here is the problem statement, and it says that you are given a string str consisting of only two characters a and b. You need to find the minimum steps required to make the string empty by removing consecutive A's and B's. Okay, one example is given here. Let me explain the problem with the example. So the example says that we have a string which is BB, AAA, BB. Okay, so according to the problem, if I have any sequence of like A and B, so I can remove this sequence in one step. Okay, so like I can remove this BBB in one step, or I can remove this sequence in one step, or I can remove this sequence in one step. So it doesn't matter like how many times I have A. If I have A, or I have AA, or I have AAA multiple times, I can remove any of this sequence in just one step. Okay, and the case is same for B as well. Now for this string, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this sequence first. Okay, so this way I will have the string as BB, B and B. Now as you can see, this is again the sequence of B, so I can remove this string as well in one step again. Okay, so in this way I will have total two steps. Now obviously there are multiple ways possible, like I can remove this first. So if I remove this particular area first, then I will have AAABB. Okay, and after that in the second step I will remove this one, so I will have BB, and in the third step I'll remove this one, and then I will have an empty string. So this way I will have three steps. Okay, so there are multiple ways, and you will find that among all the ways possible, this is the minimum number of steps which is possible. So here 2 is going to be the output. Now I hope the problem statement is clear to you. Let me talk about the solution now. So I'll start with the brute force approach. This is the first approach that comes to my mind. It says that you can try out all the ways of deleting. Okay, so for an example, if I have a string like BB, A, and BB. For this string, I have three continuous sequences of A and B. Like I have this one, and I have this one, and I have this one. Okay, so I can either remove this one, and if I remove this one, then I will have A, BB. Okay, and if I remove the middle one, then I will have BB, BB. And if I remove the last one, then I will have BB, A. Okay, now for this particular case, I can remove either this one or this one. If I remove the first one, then I will have BB, and if I remove the second one, then I will have A. Okay, now for this case, I can remove this whole sequence in just one step, so I will have an empty string here. Now for this case, I can either remove this one or remove this one. Removing the first one will give me A, and removing the second one will give me BB. Okay, now I can remove again this one in one step, so I will have an empty string. Same for this one. Again I will have an empty string, and for this one I will have an empty string as well. Okay, now I have explored five different ways. So this way require three steps. This way again require three steps, like 1, 2 and 3. This way requires just two steps. Okay, and this way requires again three steps, and this again requires three steps. Okay, so now we can see that among all the ways possible, we have the smallest like minimum number of steps in this way. Like first remove this middle one, and then I will remove the remaining string. Okay, now I hope the approach is clear to you. So it is like exploring all the ways possible in a recursive manner. So what is the time complexity? If you ask about the code, then I'm going to provide the link of code in the description box. You can see the code there. I'm not going to show you the code. Okay, now let's talk about the time complexity. So the time complexity of this approach will be, if I have like three component total, like here I have three component, and if I take the general case, then I will have like x components, let's say. So the time complexity, okay, let me derive the time complexity. You can see that I have three components here. Okay, and let's name them. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third. Okay, so I have one of the possible ways as like first remove the third part, then remove the second, then remove the first. Or I can do something like third, first and second. Or I can do something like uh, 1, 3 and 2. So there are multiple ways possible. And how many total ways possible? This is nothing but 3 factorial. This is the maximum number of ways. Like you can see here, I have 5 ways, but this is the maximum number of ways that I can have. Okay, so now you can see that it is the permutation of three components. So if I have x component, then I will permute x component, like 1 2 x component I will have, and I will find all the permutations possible. Permutation is nothing but the way of arranging these components or removing these components. Okay, now the complexity of this approach is going to be O of x factorial. Okay, fine. Now this is going to work fine, but if I have a large input string, like for large input, it is going to show time limit exceed. So it is not something which is going to be accepted. What optimization we can do now? Okay, so let me talk about the optimization. Now the string, I'm going to take a string as an example. So now I'm going to talk about the optimal approach. Let's take a string which is bb aaa bb aaa. Okay, and even start with aaa. Now for this string, I have one possible way as remove all these components. Okay, and if I remove all these components, then I will have bb all together. Okay, and the second way that I have is remove remove all the b's. If I remove this and this component, then I will have aaa aaa and then again aaa. Okay, now interestingly, I can remove this whole part in just one step, and same for this one, I can remove this whole part in just one step. Okay, now how many steps are required to remove these two parts? So you will say, okay, 2 steps are required. Now how many steps are required to remove these 3 parts? You will say 3 steps required. So there are 2 ways that I have found. Like I can either remove all the a's and then I will have all the b's together. So one point that I want you to tell is the string consists of either a or b. There is no any other character involved in the string. Okay, fine. So now for this I have 4 ways, and for this I have 3 ways. What is the minimum? Minimum is 3. So this means that I can remove I can make this string empty in just 3 steps. First of all, remove all the b's, then I will have a string of a, and I will remove all the a's in just one step. Okay, so what I will do is, if you notice that what I am doing here, I just need the count of a. How many times I have the continuous sequence of a? So I have 3 times. After that, how many times I have the continuous sequence of b? I have 2 times. Okay, so I will take the minimum of these two, and after that I will just add 1, because at last I am having a string of single characters and I have to remove that in one step. So my answer will be minimum of a count and b count plus 1. This is my answer. I hope the approach is clear to you, like what I'm doing here. And even okay, so is there something else that I can tell you? First of all, I have these 3 parts. After that, I can either remove all the part that containing single a, I can remove all those, or I can remove all the part after that all b will come together, you can see here. And similarly for this, if I remove all the b's, then all a will come together. So this is the approach. Let me show you the code. Okay, so here is the code. On the left hand side I have Java code, and on the right hand side I have the C++ code. Okay, so even I'm going to explain how this code is going to work, but I need a display. Okay, so let me do something. I'm going to open this thing. Okay, so it's going to take a little bit of time. Just wait. Okay, now I'm going to explain how this code is going to work. So you can see that I have a count equal to 0 and b count equal to 0 initially. After that I have a previous character. So I'm going to draw a string like a b b a and bb. Okay, so it will start from this point and I will have a previous character. It will first check if previous character is equal to current character or not. So it is not equal. In this case I will check which is the current character that I have. It will say, okay, current character is a, so I'm going to increase a count with 1. A count with 1. Okay, and B count also I have initially 0. So now I can move to this one. Okay, and previous character is going to change. So now you can see that previous character and current character are same. So I'm going to move forward. Again same, I'm going to move forward. Now for this B, you can see that previous current are not same and current character is B. So in this case, I'm going to increase my B count. Again, I will keep moving until I have same character. So I will come to this A. Again, I have seen that previous is not equal to same. So I will increase the A count. After that, I will keep moving and then I will again see B and then I will increase the B count. So how many times I have A count? I have A count 2 times. And how many times I have B count? B count 2 times. So this is how this code is going to work. And same, I have the C++ code which is similar to the Java code. Now I hope the approach is clear to you, and problem statement and brute force approach is also clear to you. So this is all about this problem. Thank you.